Good afternoon. My name is the Hira teacher, and I'll be your IELTS examiner today. Please be aware that this session is being recorded for quality assurance and assessment purposes. Could you please tell me your full name?
Yes, I am Leila Mamadova.
And what should I call you?
Leila.
Great. Thank you, Leila. Let's begin. In this first part, I'd like to ask you some questions about yourself. Let's start with neighborhood and community. Can you tell me a little about the neighborhood you currently live in?
Of course. Well, the place where is near my house is literally the city center. Although this is not my own house, I think that it's a good opportunity to have access to wider facilities and amenities. So,
Okay. Do you think your local community has a strong sense of togetherness?
unfortunately, no. As we know nowadays, the modern lifestyle is not really useful or helpful for people to network or have some chance to talk to each other. That's why it's not so nice place as working.
Okay. Let's move on and talk about cooking and food preparation. Do you enjoy cooking?
Well, if I have to be honest, some years ago I was not so into cooking. However, recently as a student, I had to deal with some stuff at home like houseworking and also cooking. That's why.
Okay. What kinds of food do you usually prepare?
As I said previously, I'm a student. That's why I try to cook really less time taking ones, especially I can say Italian food or sometimes some sweets at home.
Oh. Do you think cooking skills are less common among young people today compared to the past?
Of course it is. As we have heard from our parents, they would say that during their old time, their previous times, they would cook everything. They would learn from their mothers. However, recently, people are very hectic because of their life. That's why they are not so, how to say, easy to cook at all.
Okay. I'd like to ask you questions related to memory and childhood. What is one of your earliest and or most vivid childhood memories?
That's an interesting question. I can say that the moment when I met my cousin for the first time, when I was around 4 or 5, is quite clear in my mind that as I was the only child, I couldn't have a chance of networking or having friends. It was quite an exciting time to see her for the first time.
Okay. Do you think childhood memories have a strong influence on the person we become?
Of course, I am a kind of person who strongly believes that childhood memories or childhood, even in the environment we grow in, all of them are, how to say, loaded in our memory that we can always carry with ourselves. So it shapes who we are nowadays.
Thank you. Let's move on to part two. Now, I'm going to give you a topic and I'd like you to talk about it for 1 to 2 minutes. Before you speak, you'll have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say, and you can make notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yes.
Great. Here is your topic. I'd like you to describe a time when you had to adapt to a major unexpected change in your life. Here is paper and a pencil, and your 1 minute preparation time begins now. All right, that's 1 minute. Please start talking now.
So, I would like to talk about a very exciting and also quite unexpected time in my life that happened 2 years ago. When I was a sophomore student, I had a chance of studying abroad for 1 semester. Although as our university doesn't have so much opportunities of how to say giving such a chance for students to study abroad, I was not really in. I didn't believe that it could happen or I could even achieve this chance. So that's why I can say that 2 years ago, when I had the acceptance of studying at Hacettepe University for 1 semester in a completely different environment and with completely different people, it was a very how to say challenging time for me to adapt that time. Why was it unexpected? Because I didn't even believe that it could come true. It could come true. So when I went abroad, I saw that actually everything was not so difficult as I thought it would be. Because leaving the comfort zone would be difficult. However, it is important to uh, stand up for yourself and try to manage the environment and have the best people around you so that you can connect with them and try to, how to say, solve your problems by this way. I think that I've learned a lot of things as a result of this experience because I have understood that if I leave my comfort zone in a completely different country, I can still handle the issues and I can still have a living there because I think that I have the capability of living abroad or seeing the environment there. So it's important to be adaptable for this case.
Thank you. Do you think you would handle a similar situation differently if it happened to you again?
I think that I would definitely have a, how to say, I would approach this issue or this situation with more, how to say, patience and wisdom, I would say. However, I think now it would be easier for me to handle it.
Thank you. Could I have the card and the pencil back, please? Great. Now let's move on to part 3. We've been talking about adapting to change, and I'd like to explore some broader questions related to this. Let's consider the topic of change and adaptability in society more generally. Do you think some people are naturally more adaptable to change than others?
Of course, I think it literally depends on that person's living or how they, how to say, handle the issues because of their environment. Because some people tend to see the issues from different perspective rather than others. It depends on their, how to say, I would say, adaptability or how they see the issue. Is it a real issue or is it something that can be solved?
In what areas of life, work, relationships, or lifestyle do you think it is hardest to adapt to change?
I think especially relationship plays a vital role in our life because people used to have so much, how to say, tendency on changing their workplace or their, I would say, maybe the area they live in. However, relationships or people who are inside of our life and who always navigate our life, some parts, I would say, have a great role in shaping it. That's why it's so challenging.
Okay, let's talk about technology and rapid change. Technology is changing faster than ever before. Do you think society is keeping up with these changes?
Uh, well, I think not every society, because if we take into account that in Azerbaijan they are trying to, how to say, include especially AI systems and I mean artificial intelligence and new technological devices to our life. It is quite successful in our country. However, it needs to be developed. But I think not every country can manage this problem because it is something quite new and completely different. So it needs to be maybe managed by the government.
Okay. How do rapid technological changes affect older generations differently from younger ones?
Okay, so if we take into account our grandparents, we can see that in old times they would use some telephones, and which was a surprising device for them to connect with each other. However, as we are getting more contemporary lives or contemporary devices right now, I can say that it is really interesting, and how it changed, or how it how to say uh, how to say affects our life nowadays is very important. That in terms of relationship or a workplace, that's why and that's really important.
Okay. And do you think there are areas of life where change should be slowed down or resisted completely?
Uh, Change, or how to say, such kind of things are always needed for our life. Uh, if we change, it means we try to improve, or we, how to say, face some difficulties in order to grow. So that's why I can say that it is necessary and needed. However, not in every part of our life. As I said, relationship changes can be quite how to say, heartbreaking. But if we take into account that changing the workplace for a better one, or improving themselves for this case, is a good improvement for my.
That is the end of your IELTS speaking test. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.